South Africa, the land where criminals carry AK-47s, police officers sell confiscated guns back to gangs, and the ANC's big idea is to make sure you, the law-abiding taxpayer, can't own a pistol for self-defense. Because obviously the real problem is Omar with his 38 special, not the gangsters. The gangsters running Hillbrow or the syndicates smuggling weapons through our borders are not the issue. Ja, nee, wat 'n land. Now, let's speak about this. This is the disarmament agenda. Let's get it straight. The ANC is pushing amendments to the Firearms Control Act. Again, their favorite target, well, always happens to be legal firearm owners. They hate anything that is legal. Not the criminals, not the syndicates, not the corrupt cops. Nay, nay. They want you, the law-abiding citizen. They want to remove self-defense as a valid reason to own a firearm. That's right. In a country with the world's biggest, highest murder rate, we've got murder rates higher than war zones, higher than what's happening in Palestine and Syria. The government thinks you should or you shouldn't have the right to defend yourself in your own home. Brilliant logic, comrades. Well done. Perhaps we should give you a certificate. And let's not pretend this is random. Stats show that the majority of licensed gun owners in South Africa are white, especially in farming communities and urban dwelling areas, as well as urban security companies. And that roughly makes up about 60% of South Africa's 2.7 million licensed gun owners are white, according to gun rights activists. Now, the ANC knows it, and that's why this is being framed as public safety, but it's really about control. There is a bit of racial politics behind it. Now, let's be honest. This government never hides its obsession with race. They've told us straight: land expropriation, job reservation, tenders, you name it. Everything is through the lens of race. So when they say we're tightening gun laws for your safety, what they really mean is we don't trust white South Africans with weapons, and we want you vulnerable. We want to punish you more. And why? Because an armed community is a free community. A disarmed community, that is easy to bully, easy to marginalize, and easy to terrorize, becomes just like a Soweto or a Mamelodi. The ANC has learned a thing or two from their friends in Venezuela and up in Cuba, as well as our neighbor Zimbabwe. Always start with disarming the middle class. Now, the security industry melts down. Now, here's the kicker. South Africa's private security industry is booming. It's the biggest in the world, by the way. It relies heavily on licensed firearms to a point that they've got more firearms than the police. Over 600,000 people work in that industry, creates many jobs, and many of the companies are staffed or owned by white South Africans and other minorities who stepped in to fill the gap left by our collapsing SAPS. If these amendments pass, entire neighborhoods lose their security firms. We're talking about goodbye armed response, goodbye ADT, goodbye CPFs, goodbye community patrols. But don't worry, K-Draws. ANC will still get their VIP protection units with blue lights and machine guns because guess what? Those are the police. Want to protect your kids on the school run? Sorry, boss, you must wait for the SAPs. You know the SAPs, the same SAPs that can't even investigate its own officers when their R5 rifles end up in the hands of bandits and gangs. You know, here comes the hypocrisy. Let me ask you, where do gangs in Cape Town get their guns? The answer is simple. Police evidence lockers. SAPS itself admitted that thousands of confiscated firearms were sold to gangs in the Western Cape. And mind you, that is not the DA provincial government, that is actually ANC because they run the SAPS. And yet, instead of fixing their own corruption, the ANC is coming for you. The guy who filed in 27 forms, paid the license fees, and stored his firearm in a safe. That's not governance, that's state failure, weaponized against its own citizens. It's like blaming sober drivers for drunk driving accidents. It's just ludicrous. Now let's look at some historical parallels. Look at history. History is repeating itself. In Zimbabwe, before Mugabe's land seizures, there was a push to disarm white farmers. In Venezuela, Chavez disarmed the middle class, then the gangs and the militias took over. In every failed socialist experiment, step one, make sure the population can't fight back. Strip them of their rights to defend themselves. Now, the ANC, with their cozy ties to Russia, China, and other dodgy allies, are marching down the same road. Disarm the law abiding, empower the criminals, and then tell the people only the state can protect you. Ha! The same state that can't keep the lights on. Ja, ne? Now, what does this mean for Afrikaner and farming communities? Let's talk about the group most at risk. Farmers, white farmers, are already targeted in brutal farm attacks. Firearms are often the only thing standing between them as well as life and death during those attacks. Disarm the farmers and you basically hand rural South Africa over to criminals. So, ladies and gentlemen, my theory is this new gun law amendment is a way of stripping, especially farmers, of their rights to own guns. I do believe, well, I would even go as far as thinking that this could be linked to the Expropriation Act, you know, where people can't defend themselves whenever you've got a ludicrous government. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but the bottom line is the ANC isn't disarming criminals. They are not cleaning the police. They are not fixing the central firearms registry that loses your paperwork every 6 months. No, their big project is making sure that law-abiding citizens, tax-paying South Africans, are so weak to a point they can't defend themselves, especially whites, that they don't have tools to defend themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been 10 Minutes with Kuhle. If you enjoy our content, please do consider subscribing. As well as, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can do so by sending a super chat in the comments below. Please don't forget that we can only keep the channel alive through your support. This has been 10 Minutes with Kuhle. I'm your host, Kuhle Maseko. Till next time, bye.